guys, and welcome back to another film review by The Clumsy Jedi. Today I come to the last film in the Robin Hood lineup, which also happens to be my all-time favorite, the 1938 The Adventures of Robin Hood. It was directed by Michael Curtiz and William Keighley and starred Errol Flynn, Olivia de Havilland, Basil Rathbone, Claude Rains, Alan Hale, and Una O'Connor. It's the classic story of Robin Hood. In this one, Robin is a Saxon noble, a knight actually, named Sir Robin of Locksley. And when he saves a young man named Much the Miller's son from Sir Guy of Gisborne, he is declared an outlaw, and actually after he declares open rebellion against Prince John, who has kicked William Longchamp out. And he declares himself Regent of England. Along the way, he meets up with different characters who become his merry men. One who maybe is his squire, I'm not really sure what the context is in this one, is Will Scarlett, which is, this version of Will Scarlett is sort of a cross between the classic Will Scarlett and the minstrel Alan Adale, because this Will carries around a musical instrument that I can't remember the name of right now. This is probably, for me at least, and for several people that I know, the definitive version of Robin Hood. It's got swashbuckling, it's got romance, it's got some funny moments, it's got some serious moments. It's perfectly cast. Even though the language is 1930s, it's practically timeless. It's just a beautiful film, beautifully done. And let me tell you what I like so much about it. What I like most about The Adventures of Robin Hood are the costumes and the spirit of the story. The costumes, while not quite historically accurate, are absolutely gorgeous. Robin Hood's is a bit too spangled, but he's in the classic Lincoln green. And Olivia de Havilland, who plays Maid Marian, her costumes are just stunning. They're just absolutely gorgeous. And for all but one scene, her hair is covered, as was proper back then. What I dislike most about The Adventures of Robin Hood are the historical inaccuracies, but given it was the 30s and it was Hollywood, they were making more of a fairy tale version of Robin Hood than a historical version of Robin Hood. That's easily excused. Family friendliness? Oh, 100%. This may be one of the most family-friendly versions of Robin Hood out there, besides the 1973 Disney animation. So, without further ado, let's get to the scoring of The Adventures of Robin Hood. The story, it's, like I said, this one's the definitive Robin Hood for me. So I give the story a 10 out of 10. It's got all the elements that are, like, essential in a swashbuckling film. The sword fights, the archery, the jokes, the great costumes, the really good acting even. It's got everything. Acting, like I said, is very good. It is a product of the time, so a little bit is kind of overacted, but most of the time that's for comedic effect, like for Much the Miller's Son and the handmaid of Maid Marian, Bess. She might even be her nurse since she's an older lady. So the acting gets a 9 out of 10. The script is pretty good. Again, it's a product of the time. Some of the dialogue is a little bit clunky and a little bit difficult to imagine historical context, but still, it's pretty good. So the script gets an 8.5 out of 10. The humor, this thing is loaded with laughs. It's so great. Most of them come between the slight antagonism between Friar Tuck and Little John. They're constantly heckling each other. So the humor gets a 10 out of 10. The music is done by Erich Wolfgang Korngold. The story behind the music is pretty dramatic in itself. According to the Robin Hood documentary, the composer was asked to do the music for The Adventures of Robin Hood, but he declined multiple times. Just about then, the Anschluss happened in Austria, and this is about 1937, 1938. So he had to scramble to get the last of his family out of Austria before you needed special papers. And the story goes, his teenage son actually sat on the lap of a Nazi soldier on the last train out of Austria. Erich Wolfgang Korngold said later that scoring Robin Hood basically saved his life. The music is gorgeous, it's sweeping, it's symphonic, it's classic movie soundtrack, the action sequences are great. The love theme just makes me melt every single time because it's just gorgeous. So the music gets a 10 out of 10 easily. The cinematography, it's pretty good. There aren't any groundbreaking shots, but it's good, steady cameras and classic cinematography. It seemed like most of the time the camera was locked down, but to be fair, those Technicolor cameras weighed a ton. So given the fact that the cameras were gigantic, it was pretty good cinematography, so it gets an 8 out of 10. Giving The Adventures of Robin Hood a Clumsy Jedi final score of 9.2 out of 10. This is one of the best films out there. If you haven't seen it yet, go find it. I don't know if it's on Netflix or not, or Hulu, but look for it. You've got to be able to find it somewhere. So, that brings my review of Robin Hood to an end. Those are the only 4 Robin Hood movies I've seen. There's others I would like to see, like there's one with Sean Connery playing Robin Hood. That one sounds interesting. There's also one called Rogues of Sherwood Forest. Another one that I mentioned, I'm not terribly eager to see, the one that's called Robin Hood Men in Tights, which is a parody. No. Next week, of course, is Thanksgiving. The day before Thanksgiving, if I can find a quiet house, I'm going to be reviewing Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. And the day after Thanksgiving, look out, folks, because the day after Thanksgiving, here come the Christmas movies. And it's going to be all Christmas movies, as many as I can possibly squeeze in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. If I still have leftovers, then they'll be going to New Year's. But that's all for today, and until next time, this is the Clumsy Jedi signing off. Bye, guys!